It's 2011, 2 days before Thanksgiving in St. Petersburg. Flurries of snow are falling on the statue of Lenin outside her apartment. And I'm in love with Megan Adney, but I haven't told her yet. I'm 25, and the sum total of women who I've said I love you to is 0. The margin of error of mom. But that's about to change. There have been 4 years of build-up to this moment. Like most love stories, it began at Lutheran summer camp. She was a camp counselor. It was infatuation at first conversation. She had it all. She had intelligence and beauty and glasses and H in the middle of her name. She read all the Harry Potter books, even the 7th one that had just come out. I thought she was amazing. She thought I was annoying. But that's basically how Jane Austen's classic novel Pride and Prejudice starts, right, guys? So I was patient, and I was persistent and clever. And so I waited. Years later, reconnected with her using the old devious ploy of a long-distance book club. And the next thing you know, we're on her parents' couch, and I'm holding her hand like the world's coolest 4th grader. The next 5 months are a giddy blur. It's May, and we're on a tarp in a field in Bonners Ferry after a rainstorm, and it's night, and we're looking up at the night sky, and I ask, can I kiss you? And she says, yes, and I do, and I start laughing because it feels absurd for any one man to feel so happy. It's July, and we're watching the fireworks explode in the most romantic garbage dump in all of Shoshone County, and we're promising each other that we're never gonna run out of things to talk about, like all those other boring couples we know. It's May, and we've driven up a dirt road to the top of an Idaho mountain, and we stay there until 3 a.m., sharing both a bottle of huckleberry wine and the feeling that in that moment we're the only 2 people left in the world. We were 2011's it couple, and it seemed like nothing could stop us. Nothing except perhaps America's greatest geopolitical foe, Russia. She was going to be teaching Russia for 9 months. And we knew, of course, that Russian winters had defeated Napoleon and defeated Hitler. But she was slightly taller than Napoleon, and I was slightly more easygoing than Hitler. And so we promised each other that we'd be different. We would dig in, survive the long winter. It's September. She's gone. And if the stakes couldn't be any higher, I realize that I'm in love with Megan Adney. It's like those patterns that when you stare at them cross-eyed long enough, all of a sudden a 3D image pops out, and it's real and profound and beautiful, and you can't wait to tell someone. But I wasn't going to tell her I love you on Skype. It's my first time, and I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to be the sort of story that I could tell a half dozen years later before an enraptured crowd of hundreds. It's November, and I'm flying across the ocean, 25 hours running through the plan in my head. There's a bridge over the Neva River that opens up to allow ships to pass at night. We would go there, and I'd hold her hand, and as the bridge opened, I would say, I love you, symbolizing, of course, our hearts opening up to allow our relationship to glide through in the moonlit waters of trust and affection. Obviously. So I land, and for the first 2 days, it's just all kissing. Brief breaks for applying chapstick. That's it. And in one of those moments, as we come for air, I ask her that question beloved by journalists and acting coaches and hostage negotiators. What do you want? And then she says it. I love you. Bam! I love you too. No hesitation. Forget about the bridge. To hell with the Neva River. I was like Usain Bolt out of the blocks. I love you too. And there's a moment and neither of us say anything. And I feel like Cinderella wearing the fairy godmother dress, and I'm dancing with Prince Charles. Actually, let's go with a manlier metaphor. I'm Indiana Jones, and I've hacked through the jungle and discovered the temple and disarmed the traps, and I'm here standing with the golden idol held aloft in my hand, and as I'm staring into her emerald eyes, triumphant, she makes a clarification. No, I said, all of you. All of you. I love you. All of you. I love you. All of you. I'd asked what she wanted. She said all of me. It was a sickening sensation in my stomach that I realized that she had been trying to be sexy. Which, for the record, I generally appreciate. But it's a little like those birthday cards that you get that trick you into thinking that it's a winning lottery ticket, but when you open it up, it's actually a $25 gift certificate to Red Robin. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I love Red Robin. I love bonsai burgers and limited steak fries. I thought I was going to be a millionaire. And she can see this play across my face. And she knows what's happened. And she says, oh no, you probably wanted to tell me for the first time when the bridge went up the Neva River with a symbolism of trust and affection. She guessed it. Because she knows me, and that's why I love her. And then she offers what she feels is the kindness. You can take it back. But of course I can't take it back any more than you can shove shrapnel back into a grenade. And I don't want to take it back. Because what I want her to hear her say what I thought I heard her say. But she can't. Because she holds those 3 words as sacred as I do. Which is why I love her. For her, they're like a forbidden magic incantation. They're abracadabra. They're the feeling of commitment. It's a promise, like an engagement ring without the blood diamond. And she is honest, which is why I love her. And so she can't say that at that point. And at that point, I didn't realize it would sting that much. I thought it was a possibility. The thing is that I love you isn't a 3-word solo. It's a 7-word duet. It's a call and response. It's I love you.
I love you too.
So you guys can say it. And if you say it and you don't hear anything back, it's like if you're in the pool. So you say Marco. And no one else says Polo. Then you're just floating there, blind and cold and alone. There's a weight. She likes me, still. But there's a weight, there's a difference in weight between like and love, like the difference in weight between a golden idol and a bag of sand. There's a click. And the podium that idles on begins to shift. There's a whirring of ancient machinery. The pillars begin to crumble. Stones begin to fall. The ceiling begins to collapse, and the whole thing begins to fall apart. We start fighting about the littlest things. We start fighting about the littlest things. The water on the bathroom floor, and the beard hair in the sink, and subway directions, and cooking techniques. There's poison darts zipping past my face, and axes flying from the ceiling, and snakes coming out of the walls. Protests are beginning to pop up all across Russia. And I don't speak Russian, so I don't know what they're saying, but I'm pretty sure it's, Megan, give Daniel a chance. He's good man, not perfect, but tries. And so, but despite the popular will of the Russian people, our kisses begin to grow colder and shorter. Our silences grow longer and heavier, almost like we're running out of things to talk about. There's one more topic left, of course, over a plate of beef stroganoff in Moscow with the care and carefully considered words and kindness of a hospice nurse. She explains to me that while she still has feelings for me, those feelings are fading. The clock strikes midnight. The gown turns back into rags. The horses turn back into mice. The carriage turns into a giant stone boulder of dread, chasing me through the streets of Nevsky Prospect. It's December. We finally get to the bridge over the Neva River. And we stay there, shivering, until 3 a.m. We don't hold hands. There's no huckleberry wine. And the bridge never opens. Partly that's because the bridges stop opening in November and December, and partly because symbolism is a cruel and feckless God who works both ways. We have one last fight before we go. On the surface, it's a fight about missing the bus to the airport, but underneath, it's a fact that there's a pit opening up. And it's 12 time zones and 5,000 miles and 3 words wide, and the door is closing, and I'm standing on one side and she's standing on the other, and I've thrown her the idol and I'm begging with her to throw me the whip. But she's like, look, the idol's sweet and everything, but I just don't feel whip ready. Shh. And so I leap and I fall, and the plane ride home gets changed from luxurious Lufthansa to United. Putin crushes the protests as easily as Hillary Clinton's election dreams. I come back home to a cold and dark apartment without even a statue of Lenin out front. I write humorous captions on all the photos from the trip, and they deeply offend her religious family. I send her on Skype, I send her an emoticon of a heart, and she sends back the emoticon of a squirrel. And that summed it up. I was in love with her, and she was in a squirrel with me. But I was patient, and I was persistent, and I was clever, and she came back to Spokane, and we kept dating, we had more conversation, and we reconnected, and 2.5 years later, not only did she say, I love you, she said, yes, I will marry you. Not to me, to be clear. It's like you guys haven't been following this at all. To a brawny University of Missoula forestry major that she called the Mountain Man. Because that's the thing. No matter how much you feel that the universe has promised you a love story with a happy ending worthy of a fairy tale or a Spielberg movie, no matter how patient or persistent or clever you are, no matter how much you idolize her, you can't always change a squirrel to a heart. But you can trick yourself to thinking you did. Because for years, I was in love with Megan Nadney. And for one that was still her name. And for one priceless fool of a misunderstood second, I truly believed she was in love with me. All of me. Spasiba, do svidaniya.
Can you please join me in giving a hand to all the storytellers?